doubt most of you will be familiar with the popular children's game Operation. A player's ability to control a fine force task is tested as they attempt to retrieve the ailments from Sam's body cavities with a set of tweezers. No buzzers, no flashing lights, indicates their ability to control the operating hand in a steady fashion. However, when we contract our muscles to produce a force, the force we create is not entirely steady, but instead involves these involuntary fluctuations that we term tremor. But what is tremor really, and how can it be measured? Tremor is commonly measured in the hand by observing index finger movement and the activity of the muscles associated with it. Literature tells us that the origin of the oscillations producing tremor arises from a combination of outputs of neurons firing both within the central and the peripheral nervous systems. Research has shown that if we exercise one hand until fatigue occurs, we increase the tremor in that hand by altering those properties of central nervous system firing. We also know that if we occlude blood supply to one upper limb, we reduce the tremor in that hand by reducing the peripheral feedback in that limb. So we know what happens with tremor in one limb, but does the left hand know what the right hand is doing? After all, the majority of occupations and activities of daily living require the use of two hands, not just one. So the overall aim of my thesis then is to investigate these tremor interactions between the two hands. So firstly, I looked at the amount of tremor in one hand and what happened when we engaged the opposite hand in a force-producing task. And I found that when both hands contracted simultaneously but at different forces, tremor in one hand increased once both hands became active. Secondly, I exercised one hand until fatigue occurred and found that tremor increased in both hands. And this was potentially mediated by an increase in central nervous drive to not only the target, but also the non-target hand. Thirdly, I will be occluding blood supply to one upper limb and again investigating these bilateral tremor interactions. So, in Operation, steadiness is a game winner. But more importantly, and in a more realistic scenario, for surgeons, steadiness is essential during a fine force task where both hands are engaged for long periods of time. Exaggerated tremor in states of motor fatigue could compromise the precision of dual limb coordination, and in many workplace situations has implications for safety, where increases in tremor could lead to errors or accidents.